This team, it's going to happen in hockey. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to get bad bounces. You're going to get bad breaks. Sometimes they come at very inopportune times. But this team seems to have an ability to get past that. It doesn't really, bother them. What is it about the makeup of this team that's able to get past a bad giveaway or a bad bounce or bad things like that?
I think there's a strong belief in no matter what happens, we can overcome it. And that belief happens to be the fact that we've got a good team, a lot of good players that can make a play. And another one is just this team's been through a lot. From this season, being, dead last in the standings. And their playoff experience also, just, they've gone through it, they've had the experience, and, between, having a good hockey team and the past performances, I think that's, no matter what happens, we're ready to move on and ready for the next play.
Go to Ryan.
Just too quick. Adam Henrique, do you expect him to be available for game 2? And if he's available, does he go in right away?
Yeah, we have a decision to make. He's very close, and more time off is only going to make him 100%. And right now, he's probably 98%, or he could come in the lineup. Now we have to make a decision on what's best for our team. And he hasn't played for a while, but a player like Adam would be a huge boost to our team. And that's something we have to decide.
What role did back-checking by your group play in kind of thwarting Dallas off the rush last night?
We talked about how good Dallas is off the rush. And part of that reason why they're so good off the rush is because they break out that puck very efficiently, very quickly. And, they've got the defensemen to make those plays. And the forwards, they've got that skill and speed to be dangerous. And if we were going to have any success on them, we had to limit the amount of opportunities they had off the rush. And to do that, we just have to make sure that we're not getting beat up the ice, and we've got our guys doing the right jobs. Last night, they did have some looks and they did have some opportunities, but I thought for the most part we were pretty disciplined on our systematic play, on our forecheck. There's going to be breakdowns. They're going to have opportunities. They had a glorious one start of the first period where they got behind us, but overall I thought our team did a pretty good job.
Josh?
Kris, it's fun to score goals. It's less fun to back check. It's less fun to block shots and chase guys around the defensive zone. When you have a talented core like you have, buying into that, what does it do for the rest of the group when Connor's blocking shots or doing the little things that don't show up on the scoreboard or the highlight reel?
Well, personal accolades are great. They feel great, are good when you score goals, but I think this group, it's about much bigger than just an individual scoring a goal. It's about having success in the playoffs and being able to play as long as possible. And to do that, it takes a good team effort to play defensive hockey. And there's no team that's had success in the playoffs that hasn't been able to commit to playing good defensive hockey. And we've talked about all season, if we want to be successful, we have to be a good defensive team. And I think we have been. There's breakdowns, there's things that maybe we can always get better at. But overall, I think our team's pretty bought in to play a good defensive game.
Kris, Vincent Desharnais has the most ice time on the PK in these playoffs. What makes him such an important piece on that unit, and maybe at the end of a game when you're leading by one?
Vinny's been a huge part of our team. Usually he's been, penciled in as our third pair right-handed defenseman, but that's been up and down the lineup. We usually, Eki and Bush usually get the most ice time. Other than that, it's been pretty mixed up. As for the penalty kill, I think what sets him apart is, one, commitment to blocking shots and the skill to get into that lane. Another factor is how much area he covers. With his long reach, he's able to get his stick on pucks and break plays up. And then just having an awareness of what's going on around him and knowing who's dangerous. And yeah, he's been really good at that, not just necessarily in the playoffs, but throughout the regular season, that we've relied on him heavily in that role.
Kris, you've got a team obviously full of superstar players, and there's a guy in Zach Hyman who has 66 goals this year, but will always take a back seat to Connor and Leon. How do you describe how he fits in on this team, and maybe the skill level that did you know about before you really came here?
Yeah, no, I knew Zach was always a good hockey player and hard worker and honest. I didn't realize how good he is. And, you know, obviously you see the goal scoring. And a lot of that has to do with, you know, Connor McDavid setting him up and Leon on the power play and a lot of our players. But, you know, you look at the other night when the second effort goal, you know, I think it was Vancouver, Game 7, in the slot, how he the second effort, you know, maybe that was Game 6, but, you know, he's very strong, tough to get knocked off the puck. And if there's ever a 50-50 battle for a puck, he's usually the one coming up with it. You know, another skill that's very important, if you talk about the benefits of playing with a skilled player, well, the benefits for a skilled player to playing with a guy like Zach Hyman is you get the puck a lot more. On the breakouts, on the forecheck, you know, he's so efficient on the breakout, getting the puck to the center and making that next play. On the forecheck, you know, there's so many times where he's in disrupting things and either forcing the defenseman to make a poor decision or just coming up with that puck by himself. So, you know, it's, you know, no matter who he's been playing with, he's a good complementary piece. And, you know, I'm sure Connor's, you know, appreciates what he does for him.
Gene? Kris, I know last night when Kyle interviewed Stuart Skinner, he said, "I'm going to bed. I'm done. It's been a long night. You listen to different friends and family. Man, I couldn't get to bed." I wonder for you, after a game like that, even having to wait at the end for a quick review, just are you able to shut it off? And when do you turn to game 2? What's it like post game for you?
Yeah, no, it took me a long time to shut it down. It's very excited. On numerous levels last night. After the first overtime period, I was able to come off the ice, and you know the emotions are high. But I also ran into my family. I haven't seen my family in a long time. And they flew in. They were supposed to be here before the game started, but there was flight problems, and they were able to come in start of overtime. And after the first overtime period, I actually saw them coming off the ice and got to share a hug with my wife and my son. And then, so that's pretty exciting because I hadn't seen them in a long time. And then, you know, we go out for the second overtime and, you know, we score shortly into it. And then you've got the excitement of winning. And, you know, my night doesn't get better than that. So, you know, you're thinking about the excitement of the game and moving on to the next game. You know, it's tough to wind down and go to sleep. But, you know, there's still a lot of work to do, and we're, you know, looking forward to tomorrow.
Anybody else? One more.
Kris, back to like when Brett made that mistake yesterday and kind of opened the door for Dallas. How do you handle that as a coach? I know some coaches yell and scream, some coaches pat on the back. Where are you in the sense when a player makes a mistake like that and he knows he made a mistake? You don't have to tell him, but how do you handle that?
There's not much to handle. He's a professional. He knows a player makes a mistake. They know it. They don't need to be pointed out to him. You know, I think just move on. I don't know. There's not much of a coach to do. Yeah, Brett's been an outstanding player throughout the regular season. He's really elevated his play through the playoffs. And as good as any game that we're going to play as a team or even individuals, there's always going to be a mistake. And yeah, there was a mistake in their play, but he made a lot of positive plays. Definitely had a big impact on the win last night and throughout the playoffs. So, yeah, we just move on.